Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Left of Straight Show Interviews, the premier podcast that shares the stories of our amazing LGBTQ community and, of course, fantastic straight allies, all from entertainment, foodies, books, music, and advocacy. I'm your host, as always, Scott Fullerton, and let's start talking. Alrighty, welcome back, interview fans. We are back to talk music today, right here on Left of Straight Podcast. Sub Radio is the high energy indie pop band from the Washington, D.C. area. They've captivated audience with their infectious melodies, vibrant performances, and a great unique blend of sounds. These talented musicians have built a reputation on their dynamic stage presence, feel good anthems, and they got everyone dancing on the occasional viral video or two. Known for their creative approach to songwriting and unwavering commitment to having fun with their music, Sub Radio has carved out a distinctive niche in the indie music scene. I had the pleasure of speaking with lead singer Adam back in May, and I'm so excited to get the whole band together as they get ready for a new tour where they'll continue to make waves with their catchy tunes and engaging live shows. I'm looking forward to sitting down with the band, dive into their journey, their creative process, and what lies ahead for this energetic ensemble. But first, take a look. Pink lemonade, half sweet in her own way. Nothing to say to her. She's summertime, pink waves on the shoreline. I run away with her. Nothing to say to Alrighty, guys, you are treated to a sneak peek of Sub Radio's brand new single, Pink Lemonade, that'll be coming out in just a few short weeks here. Let's welcome to the show Adam, Kyle, Michael, and Matt. Gentlemen, how is Sub Radio doing today?
We're doing great. Thanks for having us back.
I'm excited to have you all. Like I said, Adam, you and I had a great chance to talk back in May, I think it was. You guys were getting ready for this huge event happening in LA, which we'll talk about in a bit. But as I told you then, I really wanted to see the entire group because you guys really are such a great force together. I mean, and you even said it in your interview back then, it's not the Adam show. It's you guys are a band through and through. So welcome to y'all and congratulations for all the success, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I love having you. I mean, I love the music. I've been addicted to it ever since. I think I told Adam way back in the days of Stacy's dad, where everyone else kind of got involved. That's where I get involved. So much fun. I mean, we talked about how you guys all got together like in high school. Kyle, you were like 3 years later. I don't know if they didn't like you in high school or what's that deal. I don't know.
No, that's right. I went to a high school down the street, so I ended up meeting in college.
Oh, the rivalry. I like
Yes.
it. Well, you're all together now and doing absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about, I want to start with that journey that we left off with, Adam. You guys had done these viral videos that got the attention of Neil Avron. Matt, why don't you let people know who that is and what this whole thing was about?
Sure. Yeah, Neil is, for anyone who doesn't know, a legendary producer. He's done a bunch of pop punk hits like Ocean Avenue. He's done a bunch of the classic Fall Out Boy stuff. He's worked with pretty much every name in that genre and a bunch of others. So Neil, we had identified him as a person we wanted to work with, but weren't sure if he would. So we tried to get his attention, and it worked.
There you go. And Michael, all of a sudden you're ending up in LA, and it seems like things happened pretty quick when you got there. Talk about that experience actually meeting Neil, and what was that kind of, I guess you would maybe call it an audition, or what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It did move super quick. The first day, we just jumped right into tracking. I mean, he's got so much passion and energy for just music creation. And we just hopped right into arranging. We talked about song structure and lyrics and where can we punch up the songs. And we went right into drum tracking, which is my favorite, obviously. And tracked all the drums and then worked out all the songs and punched up everything. And the tracks are sounding just terrific. I can't even tell you. We're so proud of it.
Amazing. And Adam, we talked about there was 3 songs kind of in contention you were going to start with for Neil. Which one did you guys eventually go with? Did you do all 3, or what did you shine your light with there?
Well, we ended up doing 6 total songs with Neil, which was sort of the plan from the beginning, but we only knew the names of a few of them when we went out there. We finalized the list when we were out there. And it ended up being the ones that we had in mind, and these are ones that we want to push as singles, that we want to sort of make the centerpiece of this album. And like Mike said, they sound ridiculous.
Nice. I love that. And Neil, Adam talked about in his interview how you've kind of been doing a lot of the producing up until then. You guys had a couple of individual producers here and there. Talk about that learning experience for you, Neil, just to work with one of your idols, and then taking your experience you had before and then seeing it happen with him. What was that like for you?
Oh, this must be.
Yeah, which one you guys want to talk first? You guys should probably both talk.
Yeah, I mean it's the same experience that we were both having, so I mean that's relevant. But we were kind of self-producing a lot ever since the pandemic. Just we weren't really traveling around a lot. I mean, we jumped around, worked with other guys, but yeah, I mean, watching the way Neil works is just kind of inspiring. It was a lot of steps that were up front at the beginning that we weren't taking ourselves, so it kind of changed our workflow a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love
we did
that.
a lot of there's a point at which I used to think a song was done, and Neil does not have the same point at all. And that was a learning process for me that I think has been very productive, is that we're like sitting down ready to track these things. Like we're thinking we flew in with the final versions, we played them on tour, the song's done. And a lot of what we talked about with Neil, both before we flew out there and when we got there, it was like, but are they done? But is this chorus the appropriate length? Is that the right word? Is that
the best it can be?
And it turns out the answer a lot of the time was, oh, no, it isn't done. That could be much better. And stuff kind of gets locked in because you get used to it. But I think that was really, really helpful for us.
Yeah, Neil also did a lot of work on not only just the song structure, but if he felt that like the lyrics or something needed a punch up, he was not afraid of getting outside help from the band to call in someone from the big leagues to come down to the minors to pinch hit.
Yeah, I was worried about the metaphor, but it's stayed with it.
Yeah. And,
he made it through. And Matt, you drove the point home. I like it.
I love
I think it's great, and like you're saying, you have all this success going into it, right? You just played this amazing back end of your second half of your tour. You have fans going crazy and everything. So you kind of have an idea what the songs are all about. And then someone just comes and tweaks it a little bit. And it's like, oh my gosh, kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those little tweaks ended up being, like, to me, very important parts of the final songs. So it was like a net benefit in every way, I think. Because now we know how to approach it better, too.
Right. That's awesome. I love hearing that. I want to talk a little bit about each of your influences. When I had Adam on, he was kind of talking about Fountains of Wayne and the 90s pop rock kind of stuff. Michael, what was your influences growing up? What kind of got you into the music scene?
Ooh, growing up, honestly, the thing that got me into playing music in the very beginning was The Legend of Zelda, which is a video game series. That got me interested in playing music at all. That and also Linkin Park. Those were the two kind of early influences. And I've kind of listened all over, was super into alt rock and pop punk. And at the time, kind of like post-hardcore when I was young. And since then have kind of, I have listened to a lot of YouTube music, which I think is really fun. And just kind of different places getting inspired by instrumental music and jazz music and music from all over the world. And I listen to a lot of K-pop and a lot of reggaeton now. And so I like a whole slew of things. Anything with a good rhythm and beat, you know?
Were you immediately drawn to the drums? Were you the kind of guy always tapping on your desk, or talk about your instrument?
The drums were not my first instrument, although they are my passion. My first instrument was the guitar. I'm self-taught, and so my brother had a guitar lying around, and so I picked it up and started noodling. My grandma had a piano, so I would go hit around. But a friend of mine down the street got some drums when he was in high school, and so went and started playing drums at his house, and I just fell in love with that, so stuck to it.
Nice. Kyle, what about your early music influences? What were you listening to?
I suppose the story's not that different from a bunch of other people in the U.S., but everything my dad was listening to, I inherited. So I had a lot of like classic rock and dad rock. Uh, Eventually evolved into like 2000s indie and garage and stuff like that. So a lot of White Stripes and Strokes and things like that. But yeah, but then I would say like even just joining the band, it was a huge shift into like another space that I hadn't explored a lot. A lot more pop entered my lexicon.
Right, nice.
Work.
And talk about your instrumental journey as well. I mean, you do it all keyboards. You got the backing vocal. You play the bass, guitar. What's your musical or your instrument influences?
Well, so I primarily play the guitar, and I can stumble my way through most other things just because I have the innate desire to hit drums and hit keyboards and just things like that. But I was realizing this as Mike was answering about playing guitar first that I actually had like a month or two of piano lessons when I was way too young to care at all. It felt like going to the dentist, just waiting in this lobby, and it's just this carpeted office building, and I hated it. But yeah,
The
eventually,
obligatory chopsticks phase. I like that. We've all been there.
yeah.
And Matt, talk about you. I mean, you play guitar now. We'll go into your instrument first, but talk about your early music influences.
Yeah, I mean, early music influence is really similar to a lot of other people, like Kyle said. A lot of my parents playing stuff for me. My mom really liked 90s country, so I got a lot of Shania Twain when I was younger. Totally did not follow that path at all. I started listening to like Fall Out Boy, Yellow Card, all that kind of stuff that Neil produced, actually, was some of my first introduction to like music that I actually made a choice to listen to rather than like someone thrust upon me. But yeah, that kind of led me to guitar. They make you in middle school play an instrument, and guitar was the cool one. So I did that one, as did most of the other people on this couch. And yeah, that kind of led me to being like, let's make a band.
I love all of that. And Adam, we talked a little bit about songwriting when you were on last time. You and Matt and Mike occasionally would always do the songwriting. Now you've worked with Neil. He's giving you some hints. Have you seen it? Have you taken a different approach to your songwriting now?
Well, to be honest, we have not really written since working with Neil, because that was sort of the culmination of like 2 years of writing. And so we've spent, like a year and a half basically, yeah, like writing. Matt and I have been flying out to Nashville and LA and meeting with songwriters, which is a new experience for us this time around. We rented an Airbnb for a week, and the band went away and wrote a bunch of songs. And so by the time we went out to Neil's, we had widowed down a list of like 50 to 60 songs into the like dozen or so that are going on the album, and then the 6 or so that Neil was doing. And so, dang, I'm thinking about it now. I have not really done any songwriting at all since we worked with Neil, so I can't really tell you.
There you go. Okay. Well, you've had to get prepared for this tour, so I'm sure you've been a little busy on the side.
I take a little bit of a creative hiatus. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's summertime too. You gotta have a little downtime. I mean, this is all your full time job now too. So you have to learn how to balance that work life kind of culture. Are you guys able to do that as well? I mean, we talked. You guys have all been together so much from growing up, but you're also now becoming more professional, and you're doing all these other things. You have to find that work life balance a little easier, a little harder now. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we're super busy. So it's all a balance. Yeah, personal lives and work lives, and we just got to make it work. So I mean, it's really just high effort. High effort for us and our careers, and high effort also for being there for the people that we love in our personal lives, and being there for our friends and family. And when we go out on tour, like we're away. And so it's really striking that balance. And it takes a lot of focus, and I think we do a good job at it.
And Kyle, I remember Adam saying that you guys, I mean, I love your TikToks and all of your social media. And he said that's almost even turned into a business now, right? You got to have the meetings and talk about what's happening, and let's plan that. Talk about what social media is like for you now. Is it still fun? or is it become a job?
It can be both, and it is both often. We like to have a lot of fun just coming up with ideas that we think are stupid and dumb, and then doing them anyways. But at the end of the day, we also like have multiple calls a week where we're on like a conference talking about what we're going to be filming and what we can film and like what budgets might be for that. We have to go get items and props and like maybe a place to film or like hire people like if we're going to do something else that involves like a separate cinematographer and stuff. So it's definitely like a high lift kind of thing where there's a lot of work going into it, but we also have fun at the same time. But yeah, I mean, the machine never stops. People are always on their phones and you're fighting for those same eyeballs. I'm sure you're familiar.
Well, the creativity is through the roof. Matt, what's the buy-in like? Are you guys immediately right there? Or do some people have to be convinced sometimes?
Man, social media is just such a beast for creativity. It's such a great thing, and it's also such a drain on absolutely everyone who does it. So it kind of comes back to the work-life balance thing that you were talking about, and honestly, like kind of like a social media balance within your own life when you're creating this stuff. Because when we're creating content, I think we all have a different creative vision, and that sometimes is challenging because everyone has different ideas. So you all have to work out what you actually want to do, and then going to actually post it and putting it out there. That's a great tool to like find a ton of people, but you're also putting out yourself online, and all these people now are very, very acutely aware of who we are as people, and they think they think and believe that they know us, and we like to believe that we know a lot of them as well. But yeah, as the page grows, it becomes more and more taxing, and it's harder to get back to people, and they're waiting for you to respond, and it's stressful. So, but yes, we're all very to making fun videos all the time.
And that's a lot of pressure to kind of put on yourself because you see these things start to go viral and things like that. Are you able to kind of put that in a different place and not make it feel like you have to top the last one, or is it always going for the next best thing?
Yeah, it's a little bit of always going for the next big thing. I think a lot of times like you get stuck in like this like gimmick cycle of like what's the thing we're doing this week, and like so like for the tour that we're doing right now, we're doing these like funny stitches, and like that's a new thing. We kind of just stumbled into that. We posted one, it went well, so we do more of them. That's kind of the plan.
That's a formula. Yeah.
I love the one with Adam, you and the waitress with the trash bag. I think I like those little cut ones. What video has maybe surprised you by all the views it's got? Is there anyone that you guys thought was a throwaway that it's like there's a jillion people seeing this thing? What the hell?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
What were we just
Is
saying?
the Rufus
Can
Can one?
at our van.
Oh yeah.
And it got like 3.5 million views on Facebook out of nowhere.
With like a cryptic caption that you would only understand if you'd already been following us and you knew what we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's got multiple millions of views. It is the dumbest video.
Made in like 10
The punchline pays off.
Like Kyle and John filmed it while we were all filming something else.
Sometimes you can feel the secret sauce. Like, this has got legs. Let's do it.
That is too much fun.
And that randomness is also part of what makes it exhausting. Is that you can think that you have a good idea, but you don't know if it's a good idea. Whether it's good or not will be judged by the numbers. And if you can feel proud of a video even if it totally bombs, but that doesn't really help you. And it doesn't get back the time that you spent making it. So it's like, yeah, it is very exhausting to have to commit to things, not knowing like, will I spend time on this and 17 people will see it? Or will I throw a can at the van and it'll get 4 million views?
Right? At least you're committing either way. So at least you have the commitment down. What's it been like to get ready for this tour? I mean, is this, you broke that last one up into 2 parts, Michael. This is all one big, I mean, I think you're going, like I said, mid-September to mid-October, straight through across the country, both sides of the coast. What's it like to prepare for something like this?
Well, we're dealing with a little bit more logistics than we've dealt with before. We got a bigger trailer for the first time, and we're getting way more merch than we've ever brought on a tour before. Apparently, people like to buy merch. Who knew? And so we're getting a lot of it, and we're bringing a lot of it on this tour more than ever. And we're touring with an additional photographer and tour manager for the first time ever. So that's going to be super fun. It's going to be very helpful, and it's a little bit on the DL, but we may be releasing other. We will neither confirm nor deny at this time that this is the entire tour. I will put it that way.
Nice.
Yes, we are going out for an entire month, and we're doing most of the country, and it's going to be a friggin' blast.
Well, if this is coming out in September, you can talk about the UK stuff.
Oh yeah. We're playing in the UK. We're doing a world tour later.
There you go. I like that.
Already know.
It's a drive. Like I said, my Palm Springs, I drove here from Ohio to Palm Springs and back. So I went through a lot of the places, St. Louis and Denver and Salt Lake. And I hit a lot of those places. So you're going to have some fun, but you're going to be doing some driving. That's
We are. Yeah. Yeah.
And how has it felt, Kyle, to put everything you've learned while working with Neil and kind of putting these songs, putting this polish back on? Has it been an easy transition to turn these songs from what your vision was to what they are now, or is it practice every day, or talk about changing these songs a little bit?
It's the $1 million question, because we've got a handful of songs that we're responsible for as we compile the entirety of the album. And as we were working with Neil, we were learning from Neil. Hi, Eugene. And we implemented those processes and techniques and like conversations as you like analyze what should be changed, what shouldn't be changed. And then now that we're getting to the part where I'm like mixing some of it down, I'm like, man, the work is cut out ahead of me. He's done a great job with the other stuff that he's worked on. And now I'm just trying to make sure that it doesn't sound bad in comparison.
That is fantastic. And Adam, what do you do for yourself to make sure your voice will go a month straight here? How are you training? Are you training it more now, or do you just things you have to do while you're on tour? How have you worked at keeping the voice kind of intact?
I stay up late and I smoke and drink a lot. I do stay up too late. No, I have rarely had a sort of voice like process or way that I take care of it, which maybe that's bad, but it has not hurt me to this point. I have been not singing much all summer, so I'm sure that's like good for the voice. But on tour, it is a combo of just working with our agent to make sure that we aren't stacking like 6 shows back to back, and also just monitoring like sleep and caffeine mostly, because caffeine will tighten up my throat real bad, and then I lose the last 3 notes of my range and I'm screaming a lot. But otherwise, no, it's not. I don't have like a personal humidifier or like a tea routine or anything. I'm kind of just winging it.
Gotcha. And Matt, talk about, you guys have done these tours before now. Anything that ever scares you going into them, that you're going to miss something, you're going to forget something, or talk about how you prepare? Are these things all secondhand by the time you hit that first show? Or is there ever any worries that, whoops, something's going to happen?
Maybe at this point, not as many worries, because we have a good amount of checklists and, second lookers. But early on, absolutely. When we first started touring, it was just kind of like, we left that at home, so we just won't have that for this tour. Or we'll have to buy it, which is even worse. So that happened plenty of times. But now I think we're at the point where we could pretty much jump whenever we wanted, because we own all of our rig, we own our van and our trailer. So it's pretty much like ready to go at any point. It's just actually taking the stuff and putting it into it. That's probably like the most stressful part, is just like Kyle and all of us, mostly Kyle, standing around and just being like, do we have this for like
nice.
20 minutes.
Now you're going all over the place. Like I said, I didn't count the number of stops, but I know you got like everywhere from St. Louis to start with, Cornelius, North Carolina to end with, Nashville, WeHo, San Francisco, Denver in between. What's each of your cities you're looking forward to that you either may not have played before, or just a city you love to go to?
Ooh, great question. We actually are hitting a handful of new spots on this tour, which is kind of unusual because we've been so many places in the last 5 years. But I don't think we've been to Greenville in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been to this specific place in North Carolina, Cornelius, which is outside of Charlotte, I believe. And we haven't played a show in Boise or Spokane since 2019, before people really knew who Sub Radio was. But so we are hitting some new spots, which is fun. I always like new places. I personally am always looking forward to the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, etc., because those are some of my favorite cities that we've visited. What about
he's stoked for that border crossing?
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say Vancouver. I'm really excited for Vancouver. Yeah, last time we played in Vancouver, there were fires all over Canada, and so we couldn't really see the sky. It was all white when we were there, and so I'm really looking forward to going to Vancouver and seeing the beautiful city.
That's one place I've never been. I'm a huge superhero nerd, and they used to film all the WB superhero shows there. So it's like now they're not there anymore. I always want to go to Vancouver and never made it.
Everything. That's where they film all the Hallmark movies too.
That's true. I do. I can go see those. I have a lot of friends that produce those, so I'm lucky in that. Kyle, what about you? What kind of cities are you looking forward to? Which cities?
I mean, gosh, they're all going to be great. I know that Denver is going to be an absolute party, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And like right next to it will be Salt Lake at Kilby, which is just a classic venue. It's going to be stacked to the brim. People like hanging off the stuff from the ceiling and stuff. So that's going to be a big party. Yeah, I think like the Rocky Mountains, whatever they do to our van, that's one thing, but they'll be kind to us.
It's an interesting city. I haven't been to Denver in quite a while. When I drove through to go to Palm Springs, since the legalization, I mean, you get contact high just going to the gas station and filling up. It's pretty crazy. They have some fun people out there, so it'll be interesting. Matt, what about you? Any cities you're looking forward to?
I think at this point, it's weird to say, but I've been to a lot of these cities like several times at this point. But my girlfriend's coming to several of the shows on the West Coast, and her she has a lot of family out there, so I'm really excited to see them. And so that's San Diego, LA, and San Francisco. So I was excited for those anyway because I really like California. But
it will be a lot of fun, especially this time. It was 124 degrees in Palm Springs when I was there a couple weeks ago. That was a little miserable. I think it was like 110 degrees at 8 o'clock at night. I was about 6 weeks. I was ready to come back to Ohio's cold.
That's why I wait until September.
Yeah. You guys will be in a much better weather predicament. I love that. And talk about this. I mean, you all have different relationships and everything. Matt gets his girlfriend's going to be there. How are you guys? Do you guys miss the people you're with? Do your partners come out there, or what's it like making a month-long commitment to be away?
I mean, it's like a music cliche going back to the 50s that like touring is hard, but it is a cliche because it is like true. So I think we all have our own methods of dealing with that. Particularly, like you said, with romantic partners specifically, it can be very challenging. Partly because most of us have lived with those partners now for a while, so like coordinating a household is hard when one of you is not there. None of us have children, which makes it a little easier, but several of us have pets, so that's a smaller coordination, but still a coordination. And it's hard. I mean, it's just hard. You're going on a work trip for a month, and you do it like a few times a year. So it's difficult. There's kind of no way around it. Like that's the business. But it is a challenge.
Adam and I, not to cut in, but Adam and I specifically, last year, because we went on all these writing trips, and recorded with Neil, we weren't home for like more than like 30 days at a time for like an entire year.
From we calculated it out, it was like from some point in mid-August of this time last year to end of May this year, we weren't home for longer than 3 consecutive weeks at any one spot.
Wow, yeah.
And it was like Christmas. That's when we were.
We finally had some home time. It's been nice, but it's tough.
That is tough on everybody. I'm telling you, I believe it. Well, what are you expecting this tour? I mean, Adam, when you and I talked about the second half of the last tour was just The fans were absolutely amazing. You said you just had some great crowds there. You got these VIP sets now where they can get an acoustic set, like 3 songs for you guys ahead of time and everything. What are you looking forward to as far as the fan adventures, Mike? I mean, that's got to be kind of exciting just to see what's going to be happening in all these places.
Yeah, very, very exciting. I mean, I'm excited just to see everybody again. It's been a minute, and so we've got some new music. This is called the Sunrise City Tour, and so we have all these new merchandise items and stage items, and performance details, and also music. And so I'm really excited just to share that with everybody and have people participate in this kind of cultural moment that we're trying to create here, leading up to this new album. And it's I'm just really, really excited to share our art. Really, that's just the best thing. It's such a gift.
Fantastic. Kyle, what are you looking forward to the most?
Shoot. I mean,
the food, yeah.
Just the 10-hour drives in the van. No, definitely the shows. I mean, getting to see everybody and like the experience that they're having, mirroring the experience you're having while you're on stage. I mean, that's a special thing that you don't get to do. Most people don't get to do it all, and certainly not often. So it's a rewarding part of the job compared to some other things, such as the driving.
We've already sort of, this is like wild to me, but we've kind of developed like a Deadhead style of fan, like a subset of Sub Radio fan that comes to like 8 or 9 shows on every tour, and we know them, and they'll give us stuff. It's really fun. They will sometimes attend shows dressed as each member of the band. That's happened. Complete with Kyle's beard and everything. So like we have some very special fans. It'll be really nice to get out and see them again. And also just like, I don't know, part of the whole Sunrise City project is that like kind of not reintroducing, because other people have done this, but it feels like reintroducing because of the way music is now, like just like low stakes fun and joy and happiness into like an event that you can attend in real life, which it feels like has been just basically missing from everything for like 5 years. And so that's the energy we get from our fans. And so I'm excited to like get back out there.
I love that. I remember, and Matt, I remember Adam saying when I talked to him last that you have fans that'll learn your songs in like less time it takes you guys to learn your songs, right? You'll go to a venue and they're singing along with you.
Oh yeah, every time. We have a body percussion part in Flashback, and basically every time we go out and tour, more and more people know it, and more people seem to be sharing it with each other, which is crazy. Because when we first played that song, there's probably 5 people in the crowd, and I can guarantee you no one was doing the body percussion part.
It's hard to learn.
But there are people picking up stuff even faster. Just the other day, we heard like a full band cover one of our songs like on YouTube. Which was just wild that people are starting to like discover the music in that way. Because like I said, when we put out the song, I did not think anyone would ever cover that song.
I bet. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to find you someplace. I'm not sure where yet. My good friend lives in Spokane. He's already got tickets for the Spokane show, so he'll be out there to that. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time. Like I said, I told Adam, I just appreciate you all being fantastic LGBTQ allies. You have fun with it. There's no hidden agenda. It's just a lot of fun to enjoy. I think you guys just enjoy the art of making music together. So like I told Adam, I hope it never becomes too much of a business, stays in the fun part. I remember I was talking, you guys did something for the Lymphoma Society a couple weeks after I talked to them. Keep giving back. I just appreciate your guys' values. And thank you so much for everything you guys do. I'm looking forward to the tour.
Oh, it's really, really sweet. Thank you, Scott.
All right. Well, Adam, remind everyone where they can find you on the socials. And if you guys want to give out individual socials, you can. It's up to you.
We are at Sub Radio Band, absolutely everywhere. And depending on when you hear this, we're going on tour like right the heck now. All those places. So tickets are on our website. Go get them, and we'll see you at the shows.
Michael, what's your website address?
It's sub-radio.com.
Very cool. All All right, guys. Well, stay on the line for me. Guys, we're going to have a special 5 questions with Sub Radio next Tuesday. Be sure to look for that. We appreciate you tuning in every time. Get your tickets for this concert. Buy their music online. Don't be a cheap-ass bastard. No streaming allowed. Go ahead and buy this music and enjoy. And we will be talking to Sub Radio very soon. Guys, thanks again. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to The Left of Straight Show. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast distributor, and please give us a 5-star rating so more listeners can find us. You can follow us on social media, and be sure to check out our website for contests and other news and information. See you next week.